All right. Stream live 24 minutes ago. All right. I guess we are live. Perfect. Let me just, inform everybody that we are live. If you're watching this later in the day or sometime in the future, just skip to the 3-minute mark or 2-minute mark and we will start the presentation then. So let me just quickly grab my link and send it to everybody so that we can have people join live session. All right, done. Go next. Send now. All right. So if you have subscribed to my messenger page, you must. If you haven't, but if you have, you should receive a notification now, and just let me know if you did. All right. I'll really appreciate if you can just let me know if you did receive a messenger notification from my page. And let's post a link here as well in my group. And if you haven't joined the secret mastermind group that I have, where I'm available almost every day of the week, and I'm always active in there, more active than my direct messages or my page. All right, I'm the most active in my group. So if you haven't joined that, you must definitely, most definitely join it. It's easy to remember, republicofsellers.com. Just go to that URL and it will redirect you to the group. All right, I've posted here as well. Okay. All right, who's here? Let me know if somebody is already live. And if you have joined, just drop a hi, write your name. If your name is different than your handle, I'll be happy to know you're here. And if you have joined, just drop a hi. And let me know who's excited to watch this or learn more about this topic. Today we are going old school type, just like proper presentation. So I'm gonna start with the presentation as soon as we hit the 3-minute mark. I believe we just did. All right, I'm just gonna wait for another minute or two and then start the live stream. Let me put my phone on silent. I don't want people bothering me right now. It's early in the day, it's 9 AM over here, and this is when we start working, right? Alright, so if anybody drops a message, I will be able to see them on my phone, which is interesting. Okay, I guess this is not going to stand. Alright folks, so if you're watching this later, just skip to the 4-minute mark and we are just going to start with the presentation. Leave this. Alright, cool. Let's begin. Let me just move myself out of the screen. I hope you can see the presentation. Yeah, that's quite visible. Alright guys, so today's session is a little bit different. Today we are actually going to go through a presentation which I made about this topic. As you can see on the screen, it's about the biggest mistakes to avoid when looking for products. And to number them. There are 7 of these, so make sure you watch till the end. Make sure you remember and note down all the 7 of the 7 biggest mistakes that you need to avoid when you're looking for products, or when you're actually finalizing the product that you are planning to sell on Amazon. All right, so I will walk you through all of these 7 points one by one, and I will probably give you a bit of information about them as well. Don't worry about making notes at this moment, because I will be sharing this exact deck in the group. So if you are not in the group, you should join it after you watch this video. But if you're already there, I will share this deck tomorrow in the group in republicofsellers.com. So yeah, without any further ado, let's get into the topic. And if you have any questions, drop them in the live chat box. And what will happen, like the process of this entire presentation is that I will go through the presentation quickly, as quick as possible, and then we can get straight into the Q&A session, so that I can give you value in real time right now. And as you know, this is something that we are going to be doing 3 days a week. I'm going to have live sessions 3 days a week, once on YouTube, once on my Instagram, and once in the Facebook group. So make sure you're in there and you've followed me at all of these places, so that you do not miss any of these live sessions. All right, so let's begin. So before we jump into the mistakes themselves, first let's look at the basic bare minimum product selection criteria, because it's very important for you to at least select the right product based on these 4 points or metrics, and then worry about the mistakes that you can be making in the future while in the process of selling on Amazon. So first things first, right? So the first point is that it has to have a good demand in the market. It's not rocket science. Like you need to start selling something which already sells well. You do not want to start selling a product which has no demand in the market, or which is absolutely you can say revolutionizing or very new for people to understand. How would it even help them? Because if you are picking up something which is extremely new in the market, then what happens is that you'll have to spend a lot of marketing dollars to first inform the people about the product, inform the people about the benefits, make them knowledgeable about how they can benefit from that product, and then make them realize why do they need the product, and then they would potentially go and purchase that product. Now that's a very long, you can say sales curve, and it's a very difficult one to crack, especially if you are somebody like me or somebody who's starting out in the market right now. But if you are a very big company, big companies like MNCs who have billions of dollars and millions of dollars in their marketing budgets, can actually get away with it by having a lot more patience in terms of timeline and teaching the people first about the product and then expecting sales. So it's the best way to pick a product in the market for something like Amazon FBA or even Shopify private labeling is that you need to pick something that already has a need established in the market. Don't pick something that is absolutely new and people don't know much about it. Point number 2. Right, again, like this is a no-brainer in my opinion once again, because a lot of people pick a product which certainly has good demand in the market, certainly can sell, but they forget to take into consideration the profit margins they might be scooping when they sell this product. Now, if you have very thin profit margins when you are trying to sell on Amazon, it's going to be extremely difficult for you to survive. It's going to be extremely difficult for you to build a sustainable business, and it's going to make your life even more difficult when it comes to the cash flow problem that Amazon FBA sellers keep talking about. Because if you have thin margins, you're not really going to make a good amount of money every time you send in inventory, and therefore you're not going to increase your pool of cash that you had started with initially, and therefore it's going to be difficult for you to order more quantities in advance in the future, and you're always going to be in that problem of having more capital to order more inventory. So you must always ensure that you have at least 35% margins. But what I like is that in my scenario, let me tell you very honestly, I have an average margin of profit on my product, which is about 38% after PPC. So before PPC, my profit margin on the product is close to 45 to 48%, and after I deduct my PPC expenses, my profit margin comes down to 38%, and that is the minimum it has ever gone to, except during the launch, because during the launch it can even go down till 0%, because during the launch your only goal is to actually optimize your listing and get some sales traction and get your listing indexed. But eventually you must always end up having 35% margin at minimum, and if that is after reducing the PPC costs, you are at a perfect spot. Point number 3, it has to have some scope of improvement. All right, now this is again a very critical thing that people miss when they are selecting products to sell on Amazon. You cannot, it's going to be very difficult for you to penetrate into a market where people are selling products which are already well established, they are already very well thought out, and they do not have a lot of errors to solve for. So for example, if you're selling some product in the market which has no scope of improvement just because it's too simple to have any errors, and there are 10 to 20 sellers already selling it, and they have all been selling that for a long time, it's going to be very difficult for you to come on the first page because you're not going to be giving any extra value. So what do you need to do, and how do you need to how can you discover this is simple. You just have to go to your competitor listing, look at their 1, 2, 3 star reviews, and see if you can find any issues with the product which can be fixed. And if you do find any issues with the product which can be fixed, you need to go back to your supplier or your sourcing agent and tell them that you need to get this fixed in this manner. You'll have to do your research and your R&D yourself. You'll have to figure out what's the problem with the product which is already there in the market. You need to try and improve upon that, or fix that issue, or maybe develop on that issue, and then get back into the market with your product, and which substantially would improve your chances of winning in the market. Because if you are improving something, or if you're solving a problem for the people who are already buying a product which is in demand, you're actually making a difference in the market, and it will be very easy for you to rise to the top. Now when I say top, I don't mean the first page, I mean rise to the top in terms of the product choice in the customer's perspective. All right, the last point, the 4th point of basic product selection criteria is that the market has to have some space for new brands to get in. All right, it has to have some space for new brands to get in. Now this is in a way, I just discussed this in the 3rd point as well. What you need to ensure is that if you're getting into a space where there are sellers already, now you must have heard about this again 1,000 times from different videos on YouTube. You need to get into a space where you can actually make yourself established for that particular product. Okay, what I mean by that is that, let's say you were trying to sell garlic press today, right? Garlic press. And when you search for garlic press on Amazon.com, you're going to see a lot of listings which have too many reviews, and they have been selling for a very long time on Amazon, all right, on the first page. Now for you to get into that garlic press niche, it's going to be very difficult, because you are going to start at 0 review count, and there are people who are already selling this over a year, and they have, all of them on the first page have more than 200 or 300 reviews, all right, on average. So it's going to be very difficult for you to get into this space. So what do you need to do as a thumb rule? All you need to do is that when you look for a product, and when you search for your primary keyword on the Amazon search bar, and when you see the products on the first page of your primary niche, you need to ensure that there are at least 3 to 4 listings which have 80 or less reviews, right? It can be 100, it can be 80, it can be 50, but yeah, they need to have a lower review count so that you as a new seller can get into the space, and maybe in the first 3-4 months develop your listing till that spot. All right, you need to ensure that you are in a position to catch up in that market yourself. So that is again like the 4th point that you must ensure that you meet when you're finalizing your product or when you're thinking about selecting a product. Now let's get into the interesting bit of the presentation, and let's talk about the mistakes you must most definitely avoid when you are selecting the product. Now we're going to go about this one by one again, and I just want to repeat this. Don't take any screenshots, don't bother writing any notes. I'm going to be sharing this deck in the group republicofsellers.com. I'm going to be sharing this tomorrow in the group, so if you haven't joined, make sure you join that. And if you have any questions while I'm discussing this, drop them in the live chat right now, and I will answer all of those questions towards the end of the presentation. And it's very short, like there are just 7 of these mistakes. We're going to go over them very quickly. Right, the first one, this is actually the most difficult point, or the most difficult problem that a lot of new beginners have, that you get attached to a product. Now what happens is that, and this has happened to me many times, so I'm going to actually talk about it from experience. When you find a product which meets all the basic product criteria of that we just spoke about, and it has good demand, it has great margins, it has everything about the product is perfect, but something at the end doesn't add up. It could be as simple as you're not able to find a confident manufacturer, or you're not able to find a good shipping company who can actually ship the product without any hassles. So you need to definitely you need to think very rationally when you're starting this Amazon FBA business. You need to be able to let go, because what happens is that if you get too attached to a product and you just think that because these numbers look right, I will still go ahead and get it manufactured and put my money on it, it might happen that you might get stuck in the process somewhere. Maybe it will be with your supplier, maybe it will be with your shipping company, maybe it will be at customs, maybe it will be after you go live on Amazon. You don't want to get into that position. So if there's something in the entire process, before you put that money on, even before you pay the 100% amount, if there's something that is wrong with the product which is making you less confident about its success, drop it, right? Drop it. There's a term called cutting your losses in trade industry, all right? If anybody of you watching has ever dealt with stocks and trades, there's a term called what was I saying? Yeah, cutting your losses quickly. So that's the mindset that you need to have. You need to ensure that everything about the product is perfect and right before you put that 100% money and pay your bill to the supplier. If in case you feel at any point that this product has some issues and it might not work on Amazon for whatever reason, drop it and find another product, because there are too many products in the market which are waiting for you to be found. All right, for example, I had actually discovered a very good product which was going to really smash the numbers on charts in Q4 2018. All right, I could have launched it and it would have literally made me another $100,000, trust me. But my shipping agent told me that it'll be difficult for you to ship this product because it had a liquid component in it. So what I did was I literally let it go. I did not even think about it twice. I did not try and contact another shipping agent. Now, some of you might, have different perspectives to it, but I just wanted the things to be simple. I only wanted to work with my shipping company. So I avoided picking that product up and I just dropped it and I moved on to the next product. I just moved on with the product research phase once again. So yeah, remember that. All right. The second point. Always, and I do this every time, all right? I do this every time when I'm talking with the suppliers and just exploring the suppliers for a particular product, I also do this every time. What I do is I basically run my product idea with my with my shipping agent, all right? As I've been always telling you guys is that I have a shipping company which have been doing their job flawlessly. They're just perfect, they're just fantastic, and they're absolutely very transparent. So what I do is that as soon as I have a product idea, I go to them, I talk to my shipping agent, and I ask them what are the shipping requirements for this particular product, so that they can tell me exactly what are the requirements, what are the certificates, what are the paperwork needed to ship this product from China to US or from whichever country you're sourcing from to your destination country. All right, always do this, because then you will have a clear idea about what are the shipping requirements, what are the certificates you would need to ask a supplier, and what do you need to look for and what do you need to solve for when you are shipping this product. they can tell you such minute detailed information. They can even tell you exactly what certifications must be printed on the product packaging, or what labels must be there on the product packaging. Because if you miss these things, what happens is that your product has a very high chance of getting stuck in the customs, or in the customs clearance step, or in the shipping step somewhere in the process, and it will be a very big hassle for you to solve it when you're not in the country where you're selling in. All right, you could be selling in from anywhere in the world, in the United States, on Amazon.com, right? So you don't want to be in a position where your product is stuck somewhere in some random country and you don't know what to do. All right, so always make sure you run your product through your shipping company. Third point. Now this is very much related to the second point. It's very simple to remember. I'm not going to spend much time on this. Separation of concerns. What you need to do is you need to ensure that you have a different shipping company and a different manufacturer. Don't let your manufacturer ship your products. All right. Don't get induced by their offer of I think the term is DDP, right? So they might give you EXW rates, which means that they will give you the rates or the quotations for the product for just making it ready at the factory, and they might even give you DDP rates, which would basically mean that they would actually manufacture and send the products to the Amazon warehouse in the USA. Now you don't want them to be shipping the product only because they are not the best at that job. A manufacturer is always going to be the best person to manufacture the product, but they are not going to be the best person when it comes to shipping. So they might not know certain minute details which your shipping company might know. All right. So you must always keep this out of their hands. It's a no-brainer again. Like, I would never let my supplier ship my products. All right. Coming to the fourth point. Always get your products inspected prior to the 70% payment. Now this is again very important. You do not want to miss this. All right, you do not want to miss this. Always get your products inspected before you make that 70% payment. And if your supplier is not agreeing to that, ditch them. All right, find another supplier, and make sure you discuss this with your supplier before you even pay that 30% advance. All right, you need to get an agreement with them in the very beginning, stating that, hey, once the products are ready, I'm gonna have my inspection company come over and inspect the products before I make the 70% payment. If you tell them that in advance, they are either gonna say yes, that's cool, you can do that, or they're gonna say, hey, we wouldn't allow that, it's not possible, you need to pay upfront, or you need to pay 70% before you do the inspection. Now that might be a little bit dicey, and you might have your doubts with that supplier if they do that. But if a supplier is genuine and if the factory is genuine, they will never mind that. They will always let you inspect the products because they will always be very confident about their quality. So always get this done. All right, fifth point. All right, by the way guys, let me know if you are enjoying this mode of a live session. How is this for you? I think this is going to be very beneficial because I can just create a small slide deck, I can provide value, and I can also stick around and answer live questions at the very end. And I think this is the best way we can communicate, and the best way for us to share knowledge and interact quickly 3 times a week, every week. All right, let me know. All right, the fifth mistake you must always avoid is that maximize differentiation, product differentiation. A lot of new sellers, again, they are just too eager to launch. Don't be impatient. Don't be eager to launch your product in the market, because if you launch something half-heartedly, or if you don't put enough efforts in launching a product before you launch it, it's never gonna go in your favor. All right, you will never be able to make a good return on your investment. You don't want that, right? Now this might definitely work sometimes. For example, if you're following a trend and you just randomly pick a product out of the factory and list it on Amazon, just put a label on it or a sticker on it, it might work. For example, there were definitely people who made a lot of money when there was a trend for fidget spinners, but right, that was a trend market. You don't, like, what I teach and what I do and what I prefer doing is not following the trend market, at least not on Amazon. You need to launch a product which has a sustainable and consistent income and growth on Amazon, right? And for that, you need to launch a product properly. And for that, you need to differentiate in the market. You cannot just launch exactly what something is already doing well in the market. For example, if somebody is selling a spoon set, you can sell a spoon plus fork set, or you can give 2 extra forks just with the spoon set as a bonus offer. Now that is going to make you stand out in the market. That is going to make your listing stand out in the market. That is going to make your offer stand out in the market. And that's going to make the decision of purchase by the customer easy, as long as you're providing great quality, right? If you're providing great quality and you're providing something extra, it could be even a PDF ebook with it, or it could be any kind of extra value that you are providing with your product, which has the same quality as the best product in the market, plus extra bonus of whatever kind. You're always going to win as long as you can market it well, right? So differentiation is extremely critical, right? Now, point number 6, and we are approaching the last point. All right, point number 6. All right, let me just, yeah. All right. So always check the selling requirements in your country you wish to operate. Now this is again very critical, and I have been dealing with this with Amazon for a long time. Amazon can really kick your butt if you don't have the right certifications, and they're super heartless, they're super mechanical. They're just going to kick you off the catalog. They're just going to kick your listing off the catalog as long as you do not meet any requirements. All right, it could be as small as having a certificate for the product, but it's very critical, because in America and maybe in other countries as well, the government is very strict, and they are always behind e-commerce players like Amazon to ensure that the sellers selling on their platform have the right certificates and are genuine in terms of the products and safety related to the products, right? So always check the selling requirements for the product in your country you wish to operate. Now, for example, I'm going to talk to you about this with my own example, because I have one of my products in the toy segment, and what happened is that Amazon keeps asking me to give them these certificates which are required for a toy product to have, the ASTM certificate and the CPC certificate. Amazon requires me to have these certificates. Now these certificates are actually provided by my supplier, all right? It's provided by my supplier, so I did not pay any extra charges for them. And you need to be aware about such certifications for whatever product you're trying to sell in advance, so that you can ask your supplier the right questions. All right, that's why I keep saying that you must always do your R&D well. You must always ensure that you know what certifications are required, and you must always run it through your shipping company, because they might also give you a lot of insights which your supplier might not directly give you, or it might just not ever come up in the discussion, but they're absolutely transparent. If you are not very sure about what certificates you need, you can do a couple of things. You can first look up your competitor and understand what are the certifications that they have, all right? You can even look at the packaging of the competitor and try and discover what are the certificates they have printed on the packaging, because usually a good product always has these certifications printed on the packaging. Or you must also talk to your supplier and ask them, what certifications do you have for this product, and they are just going to list down all the certificates that they have, if they have them, when you ask this question to them, right? Because they are 90% of the times, all the suppliers who are genuine are always transparent. All right, so do not miss that step. And the last point of the discussion, the last mistake that you need to avoid, again, is actually very much related to the 6th point, are the compliance requirements. All right, now again, like, you need to first before you actually put down money with your supplier, you need to actually create a listing on Amazon. All right, you know, have some temporary information over there, which is definitely supposed to be, it has to be relevant to your product which you are going to sell. And you need to reach out to Seller Central as well and tell them that, hey, I'm going to be selling this product. Is there anything specific that you would need for me to have as a seller to sell this product online? All right, and they're gonna inform you whatever is needed. You need to also tell them which are the competitor products that you're trying to, you know, target, so that they can exactly look at in their backend for you and figure out what are the certifications you might need today or in the future to sell that particular product in whichever category you're in. And you can also go to this link which I just discovered this morning. Let me see if it's open here. Yeah. So this link, alright, so this link is actually available. This link is actually available on Seller Central. You just have to, I'll put this URL down below under the video after the video is over, and you can actually check it out at the very end. Alright, and it lists all the services which are there affiliated with Amazon, which are authorized to give the certificates for these particular compliances for selling on Amazon. Alright, so make sure you go through this listing, make sure you figure out what the certifications needed by talking to Seller Central, and make sure you always comply to these certification requirements. Alright guys, so those were the 7 important and biggest mistakes. Now if you have any more questions, just drop them in the comments. I will answer them for you right now, but if not, I'm gonna end this video in a few minutes and we are going to connect again on Wednesday. So don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. Don't forget to subscribe to all of my platforms, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, because I'm going to be coming live online 3 days a week. All right, 3 days a week. That's a lot of content, and that's a lot of opportunity for you guys to take value out of my time. All right, so I hope this was well. I hope this was informative to you, and make sure you hit that thumbs up button as well at the end, because it really means the world to me. All right, let's see if we have any questions. Hey Shubham Behel, hi brother, it's nice to see you're here. All right. All right. Well, folks, if you're still watching this and if you're live, please hit that thumbs up button. It really helps me. All right. How long has this been? It's been almost 32 minutes already. Alright folks, I believe there are no questions right now, or maybe this is not a good time. I don't see a lot of people online. So I'm gonna actually end the video right now. If you have any questions, if you're watching this at the very end, or if you're watching this in the future after this has been telecasted, make sure you drop the questions down below in the comments, join the group, and be present in the next live stream, because there's a lot of value that's coming out right now. All right, until next time, keep crushing it and have a great end to this month and beginning to the next month. Plan your month ahead. Adios.